Every month I post on patreon.com/filmpodcast and I solicit your questions. David writes in, I have a friend who, as soon as the movie hits credits, starts covertly looking up reviews of what we just watched. It's clearly Letterboxd, but he hides what he's looking at. He also hits the bathroom in the cinema lobby as soon as the credits finish, and our whole group ends up waiting for him to exit before discussing our thoughts. Soon as he gets back and we go for coffee to discuss the film, he proceeds to just hold court and go on, barely letting us talk. I think he's just regurgitating a lot of these opinions as if they're his own, but I can't be sure. It's quite annoying. Should I tell my friends what I think is happening? Should I confront him directly? So, guy who goes to read Letterboxd reviews and then regurgitates them, you've just described my career in podcasting, sir.
I like the idea that he goes to the bathroom and he's not going to the bathroom. He's just
sitting, reading,
scrolling.
In all seriousness, I don't do it the way this person does it. But one of my most fun activities is watching a movie and then looking up the Letterboxd reviews afterwards, because they usually like put the ones at the top that are like the most funny or most amusing. And it's like one of the first places I go after I see a movie is like, what are the Letterboxd reviews?
Yeah, well, as the critics are scrolling, like I tend to save reviews on Pocket or something, and I try not to read them before I see a thing.
Yeah.
And then when I go to my favorite people, what does A.O. Scott think of this movie?
It's a very fun, enjoyable, satisfying experience to do that. Now,
but the point isn't regurgitation. The point is the dialogue, right?
Yes. And I think like for me, like, I have an opinion and then I like read others. It is true sometimes when like my opinion is swayed, but like I use other opinions to test my opinion. I didn't like Avatar: The Way of Water. Everyone else loved it. Do I still not like it? It's correct. I still don't like it. You know, like
no, the children are wrong.
It's the children who are wrong. It's the children who are wrong. But is there anything wrong with what this guy's doing? No. Is it annoying? Yes.
It's obnoxious. I think it is obnoxious, and I think if you were a good friend, if you're actually a person to be like, hey, can we talk about this thing before doing that? And if not, don't let them command the conversation. This has totally happened before a podcast, and me with people in New York too. Like, some people just like to hold court because they think they have the definitive opinion.
Well, you know what's interesting about this email, I think, is like, it strikes me as somebody like David writing into patreon.com/filmpodcast. It strikes me as somebody who is younger writing this comment. And I'm not saying that I'm not trying to be condescending in any way. It strikes me as somebody who's in their 20s who has like a movie ritual with friends that they do. Because once you are in your late 20s or 30s, you just literally don't have time to put up with people who annoy you this badly. In my opinion. Right? Like, am I right or wrong about that? Like, once you're in your 20s or 30s, if someone was as annoying as shit as this, you just wouldn't hang out with. Like, life is too short to hang out with this.
Life is too short to hang out with jerks. I think you got to talk about it. You can't just like sit with it, because that's not a friendship, right? That is something else entirely.
I guess, but the person's not really doing anything wrong. You know, he's just being annoying. It's not. It's not like annoying. He's like siphoning money off the side of his business. I
think you can gently rib your friend and be like,
he's just reading some Letterboxd reviews and like absorbing the ones that he likes and then regurgitating. It's not like
it feels like a deeply insecure thing to do.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know that is somebody that needs confrontation.
If it annoys you enough to write this letter to us, I think you should probably talk to your friend. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
Just put on this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm willing to agree to your premise that you should talk to this person, which I don't 100%. I'm not 100% sure about, but let's say I am. Okay.
Dave says cut and run.
No, but I think that probably the way I would put it is, hey, like, I know you like to read Letterboxd reviews, and it's hugely enjoyable to hear Letterboxd filtered through your perspective. But I just want you to know, I deeply value what you actually think about the movie, and would love to learn more about that. Your presence is a present, you know? So
no, I would not do that. But
I think I'm a little different than you guys. I don't ever want to look at other people's reviews until I've expressed my opinion. I mean, I don't like what you described, Dave, of being swayed, especially because the whole point of this podcast is to hear what I think.
I'm not saying I'm proud of that part of my I am occasionally swayed by other reviews. I'm not saying I'm like, hey, everyone should be this way. You know,
judging you either. I'm just saying that my personal preference is like, I mean, I don't mean to be pretentious about it, but I feel like my opinion is precious in that, like, I want to be able to express as purely as I can how it landed on me. case in point, I'll bring up, because no one listens to this, but I'll bring up the Coda review that we had, where I felt like, oh, my opinion of this movie is not welcome.
I know you like that movie, Jeff.
I did.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the Avatar Way of Water type situations where we have to swim against the current. And like, I think that's important, to be able to hold on to this thing that you think, even in the face of overwhelming disagreement. Like that's a precious thing to me. Like that.
Yeah.
I do like seeing what other people think, and I will eventually, access that. But I want to be able to express my opinion without it feeling judged beforehand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I totally feel you, Jeff. Like, I think it starts for me with my core feelings and opinion about something, but I like the dialogue, especially if it's a subject I'm not familiar with. If it's a country I'm not familiar with, or a culture or something, it's like, okay, what is going on here? I'm confused by this. Oh, this person who has lived here or who grew up here is adding this. Like when we talked about Athena, right? And viewing Athena through an American lens seems like maybe kind of confusing, maybe kind of like muddled. But if you look at it through the French lens, through reading criticism from a lot of people, it started to make more clear what that movie was trying to do. So it is a mixture of things, I'd say. Yeah,
that's an
but it should
point.
start with your own thing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
All great points. I don't actually disagree with any of that. I don't think. But I will say this, Jeff, about one place where we might disagree is, as time has gone on, I just don't think, I'm talking about myself and my generic advice for other people. I just don't think like most people's opinions are that important to share. Like that's just, and I'm talking
only yours.
No, myself included. Like myself primarily. Like I used to live in this zone of like, yes, like it's so important for everyone to share what they think, and like,
we saw what happened to culture.
It's because it's like I think the original theory is, if you share what you think and other people feel the same way, like they feel less alone. And I do actually genuinely think there's still benefit in that, But as time has gone on, I've been like, there's times where like that doesn't really matter what you think.
The corollary to that, I think the thing you just said about feeling less alone, the corollary to if other people share what you think, you feel less alone, is you can listen to what other people think, even if it's different than you.
Yes.
I think the problem that we've gotten into in this culture is everyone has an opinion, but no one wants to hear anybody else's. And I think that's, you only want to hear your own opinion regurgitated back to you, as you said in our discussion. And I think that's a real problem. Like that's a real issue that, even in art or things that are so ultimately meaningless, not meaningless, but you know what I mean? Unimportant comparatively to the great issues of the day. Like what I think about Avatar: The Way of Water doesn't ultimately matter that much, but people grab onto these things and make it, they put their flag in the sand, and
it's your identity.
But we can listen to each other, and I think listening to each other, and like Devindra has said, a conversation is not a monologue, and I think hopefully we here at the Filmcast, week to week attempt to, while we monologue often, I certainly do, we also listen and react and engage with each other. And I think that's the goal.
Thank you for the question, David. Good luck confronting your friend. If you take Devindra's advice, my advice is just stop hanging out with them.
This is why Dave has no friends.
100%.
Cut that social circle out.
No disagreement here. That was a clip from the Filmcast After Dark. To get access to the whole episode, go to patreon.com/filmpodcast. You can sign up for ad-free episodes as well as exclusive After Darks. You can find the regular podcast at thefilmcast.com. And of course, like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.